Hey everybody, I'm Jana Classy, and this enchanting place is Harpers Ferry, West Virginia. It's the first town you see as you cross the Route 340 bridge from Maryland into West Virginia. The first thing you notice is the whitewater rapids down below and the mountains. It's really dramatic scenery there. And when you pull into town, you feel like you've taken a step back in time. Harpers Ferry is the portal to the Eastern Panhandle, and it's a nice introduction. So I'm going to talk about Harpers Ferry and all the great things there. Well, there is one thing that's not so great, so I'll get into that later on. And by the way, our contact information is below if you need help in the real estate department. And if you want to learn more about the Eastern Panhandle of West Virginia, consider subscribing. We do a new video every week. So here's the deal on Harpers Ferry. If you're into the outdoors, hiking, whitewater, rafting, then you need to spend some time in Harpers Ferry. If you are a history buff, there's tons of Civil War sites. Or if you just like to hang out in a historic place, eat good food, and sort of soak in the ambiance of these old buildings, you will love Harpers Ferry. So first, let's get into some of the outdoor activities. If you are a hiker, the Appalachian Trail runs through Harpers Ferry. My favorite trail there is the Appalachian Loop. That's about 2 miles. Takes 45 minutes to an hour to complete, and there's some beautiful sights along the way. It's fairly level, good for walkers, and here's a few of the things you'll see as you hike that trail. There's about 20 trails in and around Harpers Ferry. Some are very easy, and then some are really challenging, but they all have interesting things to see. You can find information, maps, pictures, directions at all trails, and there's a link to the Harpers Ferry trails in the description below. Water sports. The Shenandoah and Potomac rivers converge right there at the tip of Harpers Ferry. So there's sports for whitewater rafting, tubing, canoeing. For outdoor activities, it doesn't get much better than Harpers Ferry. Next thing to know is that Harpers Ferry has more historic sites than any other town in the Eastern Panhandle and probably West Virginia. One of the more well-known events is the raid on the Harpers Ferry Armory by John Brown. He was an abolitionist, and the raid was meant to obtain weapons in the fight against slavery. The John Brown Wax Museum on 168 High Street tells this story through wax figures depicting the events. Most of them have audio. If you're not familiar with a John Brown story, it's really worth a visit. Another fun way to learn about the history of Harpers Ferry is to book a ghost tour. Since Harpers Ferry saw a lot of Civil War conflict, it is said to be one of the most haunted places in West Virginia. So ghost tours are popular there. I put a link to some of those tours in the description below, as well as some other tours, historic tours, some guided hikes. And if you aren't that much into knowing the details of a place, but just want to soak in the ambiance of all that history and beauty, then Harpers Ferry is wonderful to spend an afternoon. One of my favorite things to do, I don't know, might be a little bit weird, I don't know. But I like to walk through town while listening to an audio book about the area. And there's several audio books on John Brown. Midnight Rising, John Brown and the Raid That Sparked the Civil War is a good one. The Park Bookshop also has books on the area. There's some good restaurants in Harpers Ferry. Kelly's Farm Kitchen, the Cannonball Deli, the Towns Inn are three good ones right downtown. Okay, so back at the beginning, I said there's one thing that's not so good about Harpers Ferry. You know, when people visit Harpers Ferry, they think, wow, how cool would it be to live in town here or nearby? Because it would be a great walking area. I get a lot of inquiries requesting that. But because of the location and geography of Harpers Ferry, there's not a lot of in-town homes. Harpers Ferry is a peninsula surrounded by rivers and mountains, and it's not really suitable for homes. Many of the streets in town are sloped with switchbacks, which makes for some great views and interesting terrain, but it's not easily built on. There are a few gorgeous older homes right outside town. You don't see them come on the market very often. There's not a whole lot of them, and they sell at a premium. So Harpers Ferry has a lot to offer, just not in-town living. There's other towns in the Eastern Panhandle on flatter ground that have more options for living near town, like Charlestown and Shepherdstown. They are two you probably should check out if that's something you're looking for. If you plan on visiting Harpers Ferry, a good way to get there is by the train. The MARC train stops there. It passes through a mountain tunnel just before arriving at the station. And the old Harpers Ferry train station is an interesting place, a historic site itself. Along with the other links to Harpers Ferry sites, there's a link to the MARC train schedules, and all that is in the description below. Another interesting town in the Eastern Panhandle is Shepherdstown. And the video over there on the right is all about Shepherdstown. So you might want to check that out. Okay, that's it. I appreciate you tuning in. I'll see you next week. Have a great week.